It happened when I tripped on the stairs heading back to my dorm room. One clumsy fall, and suddenly, I could hear what people were really thinking. My best friend, Tiffany Hastings, grabbed my arm, her face etched with concern. "Ellie, are you okay? Did you hurt yourself?" I was about to answer when a voice, eerily similar to Tiffany's, hissed inside my head, "Why is this whale staring at me? Did she crack her skull open or something?" I glanced around. But on the stairwell, it was just me and Tiffany. Did you just call me a whale?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Tiffany's face flickered with something that looked a lot like panic. "What? Ellie, what are you talking about? Why would I ever say that?" But the moment the words left her mouth, I heard another voice, the same one, cutting through the air in my head. "Ugh, is my disgust too obvious? Did she actually hear me?" I stared intently into Tiffany's perfectly made-up eyes. It was her voice. It had to be. Do you secretly hate me?" Tiffany stiffened, her flawless complexion paling slightly. She forced a laugh. "Ellie, you're joking, right? If I hated you, why would we even be friends?" Almost simultaneously, the other voice echoed inside my head, "Idiot. Did the fall scramble your brains? Of course, I hate you. If I didn't need you to make me look good, I wouldn't be caught dead hanging out with you. Loser." I frowned, gently pulling my arm away from Tiffany's grasp. I had a chilling realization. The voice, it was her true thoughts, unfiltered. To test my new ability, I stopped a girl walking by. I plastered on a polite smile and said, "Hi." The girl looked at me strangely, returning the greeting. But then I heard it again, that second voice, "Who is this weirdo? Do I even know her?" That confirmed it. But I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that Tiffany Hastings, the girl I considered my sister, could harbor such thoughts about me. Ever since freshman year, we'd been practically inseparable. She was so supportive, so enthusiastic, always looking out for me. I had always believed that without her, my college experience would be half as good. Now, I understood. She saw me as nothing more than the sideshow clown. Being betrayed by someone you cared about was a special kind of agony. Head bowed, I trudged up the remaining stairs, my vision blurred by tears. I nearly missed a step a couple more times. Tiffany must have sensed something was off, because back in our dorm room, she wrapped her arms around me in a hug. "Ellie, are you sure you're okay? Maybe we should go to the infirmary and get you checked out." On the surface, she seemed so concerned, so genuine. But the little voice in my head was snarling, "What's this heifer's problem now? So annoying." I stared at her, my eyes welling up with tears. Tiffany Hastings. The campus queen. Everyone gushed about her elegance, her sophistication, her natural grace. The quintessential rich girl. But inside, her mind was a cesspool of nasty thoughts. I gazed at her perfect face, and a sense of dread washed over me. It was as if I was seeing her for the first time. Even if I were the dullest tool in the shed, I had to admit that her revulsion for me couldn't have started today. When she was first being so nice to me, what was she actually thinking? I wiped my eyes, determined to test her. "Tiffany, why are you always so good to me?" "Because the moment I saw you, I felt this instant connection," she said, gently pinching my cheek. "No reason, I just want to be good to you." But the other voice sneered, I got a handful of grease. "Be good to you? If you weren't loaded, I wouldn't give you the time of day." I gave a hollow laugh inside my mind. So, it all came down to money. Nobody knew that I was the real rich girl. But Tiffany had convinced me to keep it a secret. "Stay low-key," she'd said. "Otherwise, people would get jealous, and it would attract danger." But then, she'd happily flaunt the latest designer bag my mom had sent me, the limited edition heels my sister had gifted me. My dad had even bought me a townhouse near campus, and after Tiffany found out, she practically begged me to give her the keys so she could host parties for our friend group. She always told me to never admit that those things belonged to me, saying everyone hated rich people. I'd been such a naive idiot, thinking she was shielding me from jealous eyes. I took a deep breath, forcing down the bitter taste in my mouth, and pressed on, searching for more answers. "Tiffany, does my face look kind of oily?" She answered, "No, not at all. I told you, a little bit of oil is good for your skin." A lot of beauty bloggers only wash their face once a day. But the voice in my head screeched, oily cow. I hope your face erupts in zits, you toad. Tiffany, are you sure those bloggers aren't lying? You're always telling me to listen to them and only wash my hair every 2 weeks, but my scalp is itching like crazy. She replied, you just have to resist the urge. Your hair is different. If you wash it too often, it'll fall out. The other voice, dumbass, you actually believe that crap? Can't you see that I'm the only one who'll hang out with you? You're greasy, smelly, and look like the Michelin Man. Tiffany, what about the skincare products my mom bought? You said they were for older women, and they'd ruin my skin, but why are you using them? She looked at me with genuine concern. Ellie, it's all for your own good. Your skin can't handle that kind of stuff, but it'd be a waste to just throw it away. We're best friends, and if I don't use them, who will? The voice, moron, can't let you use anti-aging stuff. Who's gonna make me look good if you suddenly start looking your best? With each word she spoke, my heart sank a little deeper. For the first time, I saw just how pathetic I'd been. This was my best friend. I ran to the window in tears, afraid that she would catch me crying, and I quickly closed the blinds. My older sister, Willow, called me at that moment, and when she heard me sobbing, she became concerned. What's wrong? Who messed with my little Ellie? I told her everything, spilling the story of Tiffany's betrayal. Willow scoffed. I told you she was a two-faced snake. You wouldn't listen, and you were always defending her. Now who's got egg on their face? I choked out, I know, I messed up. Willow was a social media influencer, with millions of followers. She was always giving people advice online, helping fans deal with backstabbing roommates, mean mother-in-laws. And now, she was giving me some pointers. Just act like you don't know. Don't confront her. She's playing the green tea card, so you play it better, and find a way to get back at her. Can I even do that? Of course, you can. You're a grown woman, stop crying all the time. If you see someone you can't stand, fight back. I was about to answer when I heard a familiar voice coming from behind me. What's that moron doing now? She better not be blabbing to her family. Those busybodies will just stir up trouble. I glanced sideways and saw Tiffany hiding behind the curtain, her eyes fixed on me. She gave me an awkward smile, clearly not expecting to be seen. And that was the last straw. How dare she talk about my family like that? I wiped my tears, stood up straight, and resolved that I would never trust her again. I would do what Willow said, and expose her true colors, and make her pay. That night, I took a long, hot shower. As I went to grab my body wash, I realized that I had never once used my Armani body wash, and now the bottle was empty. Willow and my mom had sent me tons of skincare products, and they were all sitting on Tiffany's shelf. She'd told me that I didn't understand the ingredients in those products, and some of them weren't good for my skin. If I wanted to use them, I should let her guide me. But she used them like there was no tomorrow, without a shred of guilt. After I blew dry my hair in the bathroom, I came out holding the empty bottle of body wash and asked her, when did you use this all up? You didn't even tell me. Tiffany seemed surprised that I had actually washed my hair, pausing for a moment before replying, that body wash isn't good for you, and I didn't want it to go to waste. But what she was thinking was, whatever, with that thick skin of yours, you're too good for Armani. I took a deep breath, remembering Willow's advice, fight fire with fire. My sister mentioned it earlier on a video call, and she said that the brand sends me stuff since she liked it so much. She only sent me stuff because she thought it was good for me. Well, things are different for different people, aren't they? Tiffany replied, using her familiar line. That's exactly what I told Willow. Even though she has a degree in biology, she probably doesn't understand the ingredients in that body wash as well as you do. I listened to you, and I never even used it. Tiffany paused, giving a slightly guilty nod. I'd never lie to you. But my sister's getting mad, I said innocently. She said if I don't need something, I should send it back to her. What? Tiffany said, startled, and without thinking, spoke the thought in her head. Your sister is so stingy? I pouted, putting on a show of being pathetic. What am I supposed to do? I'm already broke this month. She said if I don't return it, she'll never send me anything again. Most of my high-end makeup and skincare products came from Willow, and Tiffany knew that very well. If Willow stopped sending stuff, she wouldn't be able to freeload anymore. Tiffany, I said. You used it up, so can you buy me another bottle? Tiffany's face twisted. She had gotten so comfortable that she forgot that using someone else's things meant that you had to return them. How can you be broke? Doesn't your allowance have 5 digits? But at the beginning of the month, you got your hair done and got the most expensive package, which I paid for since it was over 6 grand. Unless, you can pay me back? I said, trying to get out of it. She hesitated. But in her mind, she was fuming. Ungrateful bitch, are you seriously asking me for money? Or maybe I should just tell Willow that you used up the body wash, I said, pretending to type out a message. Hey, wait. Tiffany said, stopping me. She had seen Willow's videos before, and knew that she could tear someone apart and come up with 3,000 words of insults without even repeating herself. She was scared that she would become the subject of one of Willow's videos. Tiffany gritted her teeth. I'll buy you a new bottle. How much is it? 500 or 600, I said. What? That's so expensive. I blinked. Isn't that like pocket change? Tiffany's face turned red. Can't you afford it? I guess I won't force you, and I'll just tell Willow. I'll buy it. Tiffany said, cutting me off as she reluctantly took out her phone. I told Willow about what happened, and she sent me a thumbs up. Good job. Keep it up, and get that 6 grand back too. Don't give that green tea anything. With Willow's encouragement, I became even more motivated. The next morning, I greeted Tiffany like everything was normal, and I opened my closet and pulled out the new Dior dress my mom had sent me. Tiffany frowned. Ellie, don't be so flashy, or else bad things will happen. But she was thinking, even if you dress up a pig, it's still a pig. What a waste of such a beautiful dress. I blinked innocently, pretending not to understand. Oh? Bad things? So that's why you wore all my clothes before. You were helping me avoid bad luck? If someone else said that, Tiffany would definitely think that they were mocking her. But because it was coming from me, she would think that she had fooled me again. You're so good to me, I said, taking Tiffany's hand and feeling grateful. In her mind, she scoffed. Idiot. After we washed up, Tiffany started putting on makeup as usual. I would always sit next to her in this situation, complimenting her on her skills and beautiful face. But today, I joined in. Tiffany, can you use your makeup? I want to put on makeup too. She froze. If I didn't remind her, she probably would have forgotten that all the makeup she was using was mine. Makeup? Tiffany glanced at me. Didn't I tell you that your skin is more sensitive? If you put on too much makeup, you might get skin cancer. Skin cancer, huh? If I couldn't hear her thoughts, I would have believed her again. I had a dream last night, and I suddenly realized that I'd rather be beautiful and die young than ugly and live forever. Was she scheming something? Who wouldn't want to live their life? Tiffany looked at me with a complicated expression. Now that I said all of that, she couldn't keep monopolizing the makeup. She forced a sad expression and handed me the makeup. Well, I was just doing it for your own good, and you wouldn't listen. Then, she went back to her spot and pulled out her makeup, but she couldn't bring herself to use it. She couldn't help but think, if I use this cheap stuff, my face is definitely going to get ruined. So annoying. What's up with this dumb whale? Ugly people like to cause trouble. She looked back at me and noticed that I didn't use the makeup brush very well, and her eyes darted around. Ellie, let me help you put it on. Oh? Really? Really? You don't trust my makeup skills? Tiffany pulled a chair to sit next to me. Little did she know, the malicious intent in her eyes was going crazy. I was only a little bit assertive, and her facade as a fairy who didn't touch earthly things was ruined. Later, she would have even more. Tiffany grabbed a brush and started doing my makeup, sneering in her mind. Let me put you to shame. Let's see if you still want to go out like this, and let's see if you dare to put on makeup later. But she didn't know that I had it all planned out. The uglier she made me, the closer she was to digging her own grave. The first 2 blocks of class were for my major, and there were about 100 people in the room. I wore a face mask, and nobody knew how terrifying the face underneath was. Tiffany was encouraging me on the side, this is your first time putting on makeup, you have to show everyone, and you're going to surprise everyone. What she was thinking was, I'm going to nail you to the pillar of shame. I didn't know why she was so mean to me. However, since she was already sitting on top of me, I had no intention of giving way. The teacher would always call on students to make presentations, and I would never participate. However, this time, I not only raised my hand, but I also looked the teacher directly in the eyes. Alright, let's have that female student over there do it. I smirked, and walked up to the stage. Under the gazes of everyone, I took off my face mask. The 2 rows of lights shone on my face. The foundation was black and white, the blush was like the red soil of the Lust Plateau, the lip gloss was sloppily applied, and the highlight was as if I had been dead for 3 years. The classroom was quiet for a moment, and then everyone burst out laughing. What is that? If you don't know how to put on makeup, then don't. It's like a ghost. Can't you stop trying to scare people? Even the teacher couldn't stand it anymore. After asking everyone to be quiet, he looked at me hesitantly. Everybody wants to look good, but you really need to practice your technique. Oh? I pinched my thigh, which hurt enough for tears to come out, but I didn't cover my face. Is it not pretty? But when Tiffany was helping me, she said that I looked especially good today. The atmosphere turned strange. Everyone looked at Tiffany at the same time. She had a delicate face, with a smooth complexion. Her long hair flowed down, and she looked like a fairy. However, the fairy's triumphant smile slowly faded away. She didn't think that I would reveal her. Tiffany said that she was really good at putting on makeup. Did she make a mistake, and it doesn't fit me? I was tearing up as I looked at everyone innocently. This time everyone started to understand. Tiffany had made herself look so pretty, but made me look like a monster. That meant that it wasn't that her makeup skills were bad, but that she was just a bad person. The teacher also frowned and told Tiffany, "Don't make fun of your classmates." Tiffany's face turned pale, and she had always lived in the compliments of others, and had never been looked at with such meaningful and mocking gazes. "I'm sorry, teacher," Tiffany said as she stood up. The lights in the dorm were too dim, and I couldn't see, so I went too far. I continued to stir the pot. "Teacher, please don't blame Tiffany. Even though we're in the same dorm room, the lights on each bed are different." Tiffany looked even more panicked. The surface of what I was saying was that I was trying to clear her name, but what I was actually doing was reminding everyone that since the space in the dorm room was so small, the lights couldn't be that different. The boys probably wouldn't notice it, but the girls could definitely see how much effort Tiffany had put into her makeup. If her lights were fine, and I was applying makeup under my bed, how could it have been so dark that she couldn't see? I knew that something small like this couldn't knock Tiffany off her pedestal. At most, people would think that she was a little two-faced. However, to men, it was fine if rich and pretty girls were a little bit two-faced. I decided to make sure she got what was coming to her. At noon, Tiffany and I went to eat together, and I kept telling her along the way, "I know it wasn't on purpose, so I'm not going to blame you." Tiffany gave me an awkward smile. After we got to the dining hall, we ordered the same things as usual, and she stood next to me. As soon as the cashier was done pressing the numbers, I shook my head. "We're going to pay separately." Tiffany's eyes widened, since she was used to me paying for her. I gave her a shy smile. "I'm sorry, Tiffany. You spent too much on your hair, and it's already the end of the month, so I'm really broke." The cashier was urging us to pay, so she had to put her card up to the machine. However, the machine went beep beep, and the cashier said impatiently, "There's no money in the card. Recharge it and then come back." The fairy had never been treated like this before, and she went straight back to the dorm room without eating. In less than 2 minutes, I saw her post on social media. "I'm so hungry, but I have to control myself to get the perfect body." There was a picture of her showing off her body at the gym. Everybody wanted that body. The simps appeared in the comments. "Your body's already perfect, so eat something. If there's anything you want to eat, you can tell me. I'm outside right now, so I can bring it to you." These idiots were just as dumb as I was before. I put down my chopsticks and left a comment. "Didn't you go to recharge your dining hall card? Why haven't you come back yet? Is it because you don't have enough money?" Less than half a minute after I left the comment, I refreshed the page. Okay, that post was gone. I finished eating, and I suddenly felt like I was more free by myself. When I got back to the dorm room, Tiffany was already lying in bed. The room was as quiet as a coffin. Our dorm room was for 2 people. My mom found some connections to let me stay here in case I was bullied by my roommate. Tiffany was the roommate that I had chosen. I looked at the list before school started, and I had chosen her. My mom had said, Tiffany, so pure and clean, and her name is good. She's definitely going to be a girl who's easy to get along with. However, she would never think that Tiffany was like this. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Willow asking about the results and if I needed help. Sister, I think you're right. About what? Using the green tea card against the green tea card is the best method. I didn't even realize that I had the potential to be a green tea. I'm glad you think so. Did you get the money back? No. What are you waiting for? Are you keeping that money for her funeral? I put down my phone and called Tiffany's name, but she just turned around, not paying attention to me. Was she pretending to be asleep? I walked over to her bed. Tiffany, can you pay me back the money you spent on your hair? I want to give my mom a gift, since it's her birthday on Saturday. Tiffany finally sat up, and she looked at me with a mournful expression. Ellie, I feel like we're not as close as before. I pretended to be surprised. How can you think that? I think of you like my sister, but you don't feel close to me? I feel wronged, Tiffany. Tiffany froze for a moment. She probably didn't think that I would take her path and leave her with no way out. That's not what I meant. I just don't think that we need to separate what's yours and what's mine. Don't you think that talking about money all the time hurts our feelings? Are you blaming me for making you pay me back? In her mind, Tiffany was cursing, are you sick? What do you think? You keep asking. You're a rich second generation, yet you're acting like my mom. However, she couldn't show any of that on her face. That's not what I meant. I knew you wouldn't be so petty. I walked up the stairs and took her hand intimately. I'm not trying to force you, but my mom's birthday is only once a year, so I want to surprise her. Tiffany twitched, unable to smile. In her mind, she was getting annoyed. That old bag, what's the big deal about her birthday? However, on the surface, she could only discuss with me. Ellie, I used my allowance for the president of the student body's gift. If you think about it, your mom is so rich, so she doesn't need a gift, right? You're just one more fish among the president's many, so he doesn't need you either. However, I still pretended to understand. Okay, then I'll think of something else. Tiffany breathed a sigh of relief. Little did she know that I had gone to turn in a financial aid application for her. Before the financial aid was distributed, the counselor would hold an evaluation meeting and ask a few students to talk about their situation. When he called Tiffany's name, everyone froze. How could the rich second generation be applying for financial aid? Tiffany stood up for no reason. Teacher, I didn't apply. The counselor looked at his phone to make sure. I got an email, so it can't be wrong. How is that possible? Tiffany said with a smile. Why would I be missing a few $1,000s? As soon as she said that, the faces of the few students who applied turned dark. The counselor was also unhappy. Then why did you fill out the form? I raised my hand and stood up. Teacher, I'm sorry, I was the one who filled out the form for Tiffany. Before the counselor could scold me, I quickly explained. I was afraid that Tiffany would be too shy to apply and would miss out on the opportunity. Are you sick? Tiffany could no longer hold it in. Who told you to apply for me? Let me explain. I went to pull her, but she pushed me away in anger. I fell on the ground on purpose. The counselor quickly came to break us up. Don't fight, talk it out. I stood up while wiping away my tears. I only did it because Tiffany seemed to be missing money, but didn't want to ask her family for it. What do you mean? The counselor asked. She got her hair done in the middle of the month, and I paid over $6,000, but I need that money now. She said that she didn't have enough money, I sobbed. I know that what I did was wrong, but I was only trying to help a good friend, so I know I was wrong, and I won't do it again. However, everyone was only paying attention to the fact that Tiffany had borrowed money from me to get her hair done. You borrowed over $6,000 from Ellie to get your hair done? The counselor said in disbelief. Tiffany's face turned white and then red. The students on the side also started to talk. Isn't she a rich second generation? Before, she laughed at Ellie for being a nerd. Yeah, who's the real rich second generation? I was scammed by the hair salon. I couldn't leave without paying, Tiffany explained to the counselor. However, the counselor was still strict, and he asked us, do you students often borrow such large amounts of money? Not that many times. I pretended to hesitate. Besides this time, Tiffany was also missing money to buy an iPad, so I paid her $5,000. Then, her parents didn't send her money in time, so I put $3,000 in her card. And... Stop. Tiffany interrupted me. However, we're good friends, so it's fine to borrow a little money. I'm sure Tiffany will pay me back, I said to the counselor sincerely. I'll talk about you later. The counselor looked at me as if I were an idiot. Then, he turned to Tiffany. Have you paid back all of this money? Tiffany opened her mouth, unable to say a single word. Even the dumbest person would know the answer. No rich second-generation person would be borrowing money all the time. Tiffany's facade was about to break. However, you couldn't underestimate the mental fortitude of a green tea. Almost in a one-sided situation, she suddenly covered her face and started sobbing. There was a problem with my dad's company, and the funds were cut off. Before she could finish, she ran away without looking back. Now this is a good show. Of course, I couldn't give up yet. I immediately bowed to the counselor to apologize. I was wrong, and I shouldn't have made my own decision. I'll write a self-criticism for sure. I didn't know that Tiffany was in such a difficult situation, that her company was bankrupt and that her parents were getting divorced. Divorced? I wiped my eyes with real tears. Yeah, her dad came to send her when school started, and he said that he was the driver. The person running the company should have been his stepfather. The look Tiffany Hastings shot me could no longer be described as mere resentment. All the painstaking effort she'd put into crafting her image had been shattered. Her rich girl persona was now nothing more than the emperor's new clothes, and everyone was starting to see through it. Back in the dorm room, I continued to play the innocent act. Tiffany, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize things would turn out this way. You're not mad at me over something so small, are you? Small? Tiffany's perfectly shaped eyebrows knit together in a furious scowl. Inside her head, I could hear a torrent of vitriol, slut. Ugly whale. Why don't you just drop dead? So what if your family has some stinky money? Who knows if your mom was selling herself on the street? I looked at her expectantly. Tiffany, are you yelling at me in your thoughts? She froze for a split second, then snapped, do you think I have no class? I'm a lady. I would never swear at someone. That's what I thought too, I said, nodding seriously. Don't be angry, I'll let you drive my new car, okay? Her expression softened a little, and she narrowed her eyes, sizing me up. Does she really think I'm still an idiot? I tugged on her arm, fawning over her. Isn't it Chad's birthday soon? I can give you the keys to the townhouse, and you guys can have the party there. Tiffany's eyes lit up, but she pretended to be hesitant as she reached out. Ellie, I've always said you're so forgetful. It's better if I hold on to the keys for you. I nodded eagerly. Chad, the football jock president of the student body she was infatuated with, was turning 21 at the end of the month. I knew Tiffany had spent her entire allowance on a pair of limited edition sneakers for him. Honestly, I couldn't see what was so captivating about this supposed Mr. Popularity, Chad. My two older brothers were both actors, so I'd seen my fair share of attractive men. This Chad was, at best, conventionally handsome. Plus, with all the lines of BS he was feeding Tiffany, he was clearly a player. Men who don't respect themselves are just like a soggy salad. I don't know what Tiffany liked about him. After taking the keys, Tiffany started texting Chad immediately, offering to throw him a huge birthday party. She glanced at me. Ellie, you should come that day too. Her face was smiling, but the little voice in my head sneered, come, and make me look even better. Ugly troll. I wondered if my expression betrayed a hint of pity. Every time she tried to strike, it was perfectly predictable, completely within my control. Allowing her to jump up a little makes it easier to slam her to the ground later. I told Willow my plan, and without a moment's hesitation, she contacted her personal trainer. He guaranteed that he could help me lose weight and improve my posture within 10 days or so. So, every day after class, I took a cab straight to Willow's apartment. Tiffany was ecstatic to have me out of her hair. She spent all her time driving my new car around, taking people shopping or camping. She couldn't have been any more conspicuous. But I was hoping she would be even more obvious. Sometimes, the higher you fly, the harder you fall. Before the end of the month, I had my older brother get me a pair of unreleased, limited edition sneakers from his contacts. That wasn't all. I knew Chad loved a certain female singer, and Tiffany had been practicing her songs in the dorm for ages, hoping to perform at his birthday party. Okay, I'll play along. I paid a huge amount to book the female singer for that day. I also knew Tiffany was planning on wearing my Meow Meow dress. When Willow first sent me that dress, Tiffany acted like she hated it, saying it looked bad on me. But then she begged me to take it off and let her try it on. And once she had it, I never saw it again. I purposely picked out a very similar dress, except, this one was even more exquisite. In about 10 days, I lost over 10 pounds. With the personal trainer's expert guidance, my posture also improved. The dress fit me perfectly, cinching at my waist. Willow said it looked like it was custom made for me. Willow then gave me a complete makeover and blow-dried my hair. For the first time, I thought the person in the mirror was really pretty. I knew it. You were really pretty when you were younger, but after spending so much time with this green tea, you just lost all sense of style. It's a familiar feeling, isn't it? Willow brought me her favorite handbag. Here, take this, and these. She jingled a set of keys. Didn't you say you liked the color of my Lamborghini? You can drive it. I gave Willow an excited hug and kissed her cheek. Sis, I want a driver. Don't you know how to drive? Yeah, but how am I supposed to watch the show if I'm driving myself? Willow offered such an enticing price that she easily found the perfect driver for me. Everything was ready, and it was almost showtime. Tiffany, unaware of what was coming, sent me a message. Just going out to eat, it's only a few people, so you don't need to wash your hair or get dressed up. I replied honestly, okay. After, I added a smiling emoji. The driver was so nervous to be driving a Lamborghini for the first time that I kept reassuring him. It's okay, just go for it. We chatted along the way, and he told me that he had a daughter about my age. He then asked about my school, and after getting my answer, he exclaimed, "What a coincidence. You and my daughter go to the same school." He probably didn't remember, but over a year ago, he had introduced Tiffany and me, asking us to get along in the future. However, I looked completely different now compared to what he remembered. So how would he have known? After we got to our destination, I saw my familiar pink BMW. Tiffany had really driven it. There was music and cheers coming from inside. However, I wasn't rushing. The driver looked outside. Are you having an event? A friend's birthday, I said as I texted Tiffany. I told her that I had arrived, but there were too many people, so I was afraid to go in. Then wait, I'll come to get you. You didn't dress up, right? No. I was actually giving Tiffany a chance, but as usual, she wanted to make me look bad. She opened the door, letting a bunch of students out. The smile on her face froze after she saw the sports car. Everyone was shocked. Who has so much money? In all the discussion, the driver walked around to open the door for me. I put my hand on his elbow and slowly walked out. At that moment, it felt like I became a true heiress again. Where did this beauty come from? Did she come to the wrong place? Tiffany, is that your friend or Chad's friend? Tiffany's face had already changed. Instead of looking at me, she was staring at the driver. She wanted to hide in the townhouse, but I stepped forward and grabbed her hand, as if I were happy to see her. Tiffany, you look so pretty today. Then, I turned to everyone. It's me, Ellie. You guys don't recognize me? It looks like I'm wearing a lot more makeup. A few boys were gawking at me, and the girls were excitedly holding my hand. Ellie, you're actually so pretty. We didn't see that before. Ellie, is that in Hermes' handbag? Wow. In between conversation, I heard the driver. Tiffany? What are you doing here? I turned around in surprise to look at the driver. You know my best friend? You guys are friends, the driver said happily. What a coincidence. I'm Tiffany's father. He was the only one that was happy after he said that. Everyone looked at each other. Tiffany had always said that she was a rich second generation. So why was her father a driver? Tiffany wanted nothing more than to sink into the ground. I enthusiastically took the driver's hand. Since it's such a coincidence, let's go in. Tiffany, is that really your dad? Didn't you say that your dad bought you a BMW? Everyone asked, confused. BMW? The driver asked, puzzled. You guys mean that? I said, looking to the side. Misunderstanding. I let Tiffany borrow my BMW. That car is yours, Ellie. Is this Lamborghini yours too? Not this, I said honestly. I can't drive such a flashy car to school. When I said flashy, everyone thought of how Tiffany had been flaunting it the past few days. So she was bragging with things that weren't hers? In this mess, I grabbed the driver to go in and rest. But then, Tiffany ran over and knocked his hand away, with tears in her eyes. I don't even know him. He's a liar, he's not my dad. The driver froze. After a while, he realized what was going on, and the way he looked at his daughter was full of disappointment and pain. However, Tiffany was still shoving him. Go away. Just go away. It turns out that no matter who it was, when they were flustered, they were no longer a goddess. Everyone looked at each other. The driver was there to drive me, so he didn't have a car to leave in. He could only hang his head and slowly walk away. The sunset made his shadow look long. My heart ached. I would have never used a father as a chess piece if Tiffany hadn't gone too far. I transferred $1,000 into the driver's account with a note saying the fare. However, I knew that this $1,000 wouldn't be able to buy back the guilt that I had. After taking a deep breath, I quickly adjusted. I couldn't show any weakness. I still had to tear down Tiffany's mask. She was already flustered. I pretended to ask her in concern, Tiffany, why does your face look so bad? Ellie Carter, what do you want? Why did you find a stranger to pretend to be my dad? How shameless. Okay, let's keep acting. I don't know. The driver told me that he knew you. Tiffany, why are you so mean? What if you were lying about your dad, and the truth finally came out? I know it can be hard, but don't take it out on me. I began to sob, taking full advantage of my acting skills. Are you mad that I wore makeup? I had no idea it was not appropriate to wear makeup or to feel beautiful when the goal is to impress your man and friends. I kept saying that Tiffany looked better, and I was wrong for trying to. Everyone took the bait, the attention going back on Tiffany. The mature, understanding thing to do would be to avoid being overly accusatory and awkward. Everyone had their own ideas about whether he was actually her dad. If someone kept the subject up, the birthday party would be ruined. Everyone agreed in their head to quickly change the subject. Tiffany, Ellie, did you know that the both of you have pretty similar dresses? Yup, just a coincidence. Smiling and grabbing onto Tiffany's arm, knowing that everyone was finally starting to notice me, both of these dresses are from Mio Mio. I thought that Tiffany had loads of clothes from this brand, a girl thought out loud, all of them are so gorgeous and amazing looking, sadly I can't afford any. You know, I am currently doing a closet clean out. So many of my clothing items still have the tags on them and have never been worn. Just swing by to see what I have. You can take anything you like. I said back to her. In my world, people should be repaid based on what they gave. Those who put out good energy should receive the same in return, but someone who had taken me for a fool deserved nothing. The girl gasped with surprise and covered her mouth. Really? Can I? Of course. Tiffany also grabs things from my closet all the time. With that one sentence, the whole group fell silent. Internally, I knew that Tiffany had a tantrum bubbling to the top. I swear to everything, I will tear her apart. In order to change the subject again, she spoke louder to try and get the momentum back. Guys. Stop standing outside. He's almost here. We have to get in there and make everything perfect. With fake smiles, everyone echoed what she had said. Yeah. Let's go. But since she had been so excited, running outside and leaving everything behind, the door had been locked behind her. After a long pause, she stated, embarrassed, oops. I left the keys on the inside, don't worry. I'm calling a locksmith. That will take too long, let me help, coming forward and pressing my thumb on the fingerprint scanner, the key, password, and fingerprint should all work. Bam. Just like that, the door had unlocked. Swallowing their saliva, another girl was awestruck and pointed out what everyone else had just realized. Ellie, how did that work? Don't tell me that this place is yours too? Embarrassed, I touched my hair and quietly nodded, opening the door for them. I had finally revealed who I truly was. The expression on Tiffany had grown even more unhinged. I already knew that she told everyone that the house belonged to a random relative. I wasn't going to be someone who helped her weave this fantasy. Disgusting. That's it, you've stepped over the line, she was probably thinking to herself. People wear their masks for too long that it's hard to see them as anything else. Now I have the honor of ripping it off, even if some skin comes off with it. In the middle of everything that was going on, we heard someone state excitedly, Chad is here. Coming back to the world, she gave me an evil glare, swapping it out for a charming smile so that she would be able to welcome him in. As if she were the wife from a period piece, and with the goal of asserting dominance by overshadowing the other contenders, Tiffany had gone out of her way to invite all of the girls that Chad would usually spend his time with. After being elevated by Tiffany, this Chad had become smug and was definitely showing it. Women shouldn't put men in such a high place. Every single gift that he had been given had been revealed. It was time for Tiffany to present what she had gotten him as well, acting shy and delicate. As she grabbed onto the sneakers. I saw you looking at these during our last date. I bought them for you in order to show you that I listen and care. All of the boys Chad had brought with him gasped and held in excitement. But it was soon shattered by my appearance and gift. Hi Chad. I was wondering if you remembered me. I'm Ellie. Tiffany's friend. I made sure to act just as cute and girly as she had. Scanning me up and down, Chad smirked. At the same time that he ripped open the box, his grin fell. Tiffany didn't know anything about designer clothing, but the boys definitely did and gasped in shock as they checked it out. Whoa, where did you find these? These haven't even been released yet. Those had to cost at least 4 digits. What's up with Chad getting so many gifts? Chad has the life. Boiling with rage, Tiffany spoke up, Ellie. Just shut up for once, you don't even have the right to get him anything. Did you even ask for his opinion on if you're worthy? Acting cute and innocent, fluttering my eyelashes, I thought we were friends. I had no idea everyone was so exclusive. Grabbing the box, I stood back up. If Tiffany is so opposed to me getting him something, I will respectfully take my gift back. Don't, Chad pulled me back, don't listen to her. You're sweet for getting me something. Shooting a glare at her, Chad had said, Tiffany, don't get so worked up. Is it even that serious? He had broken her heart, she couldn't believe what was happening as she bit her lip, tears brimming her eyes. Snapping back, the cuteness from her was oozing with honey. I also have a special gift. And what might that be, my dear? There's a musician that you rave about. I rehearsed one of her songs just to show you. She pulled it all together. There was even a miniature stage for her to show off. Wearing a pure white dress, she was gorgeous and definitely the prettiest girl. If the scene ended there would have been no issues. But after thinking about what her insides were like, the light that surrounded her started to fade. For all that she was doing, Tiffany had a really strong vocal and it showed. I wouldn't put it past her to think that it was good enough to steal his attention. Looking down and grabbing my phone, I sent a quick text. The ball was rolling, everything was in motion. As she sang the third verse, an obviously stronger and more elegant sound filled the speakers, stealing the attention. Stunned, Tiffany darted her eyes to the side and was quickly met with the very celebrity that she was supposed to be emulating, glowing in her own light. Everyone exploded in excitement. This singer had to be one of the largest rising stars of the moment and was even famous on a world level. Even Chad had to drop the act to express his disbelief. There was no chance that a local townie would be able to snag a megastar. Humming and nodding, the guest star had even sung the song in conjunction with Tiffany, waving her hands in excitement. Knowing that she wanted to take the crown and be the center of attention, the tables had turned and there was nothing she could do about it. As the song reached the end, the singer picked up the hems of her dress and bowed, her smile blinding. Happy birthday to my biggest fan, Chad, and wishing Ellie all the best during her schooling. May both of you receive much joy. Grabbing her face, Tiffany ran off the stage and shot me a glare that nearly broke my nose. What did you do to me? How did you even get her to come? Smiling and looking to the side, I shook my head. Everyone is watching you right now. Don't get so worked up. You're ruining your reputation, you can't let that happen. Ironic that she was concerned about losing her persona, when it was already ruined. Clenching her teeth, eyes burning with a manic fire, I swear that she wanted to eat me whole. I didn't know how else to say it, but it really felt like all hell had come out to play. Innocently asking back, I said, Tiffany, why are you over here when Chad might have been snatched? Ripping and tearing, but nothing at the same time. After the singer had finished giving Chad a hug, she smiled in a really friendly manner as she approached. Taking me by the arm, we began to move towards the exit. As soon as I was ready to walk back in, the crowd exploded and swarmed me. The questions that I got had been nearly too much to handle. What's the secret? How did you pull all of this together? This is so amazing. Do you personally know her? Does that mean that you're connected to a heap of celebrities? I could hear others in the distance, excitedly posting and talking to each other. The real artist is going crazy. Chad doesn't know what kind of party he got himself involved in. No questions about who was involved, but it was a fact that Tiffany had reached her peak in embarrassment. Going to the toilet to grab a moment to catch my breath, it wasn't long before Tiffany had followed me in, confronting me for my actions. What the hell did you just do? Am I acting bad? Innocently putting my head to the side. You're being such a fake. A showboat, vain, and so much more. It's making me sick. But didn't you teach me how to act this way? Innocently putting my head to the side. What do you mean? Stop acting. Trying to throw a punch at my face, I reached forward and grabbed onto her wrists tightly before she could go through with it. All of the strength training that I had been going through was really putting its weight. I didn't change myself, I just mirrored you as a joke, and you're mad about it. Everything was said and done, there was no reason to dance anymore. You act all pure and say we are sisters, but why did you do all of these things? You and I both know exactly how you've been acting. I always thought of you as a sister. Now I know that it's better to trust a dog than a friend. Oh, is that so? In that case, I would love to know what your thoughts are as you laugh and deride me internally, while also acting as if you have done no wrong. I hope you're happy for treating me so badly. Huh. Where are you going with this? I was waiting for the big reveal, but it wasn't coming. Going closer to her, I whispered, I have been blessed and rewarded, but you haven't? What crap are you spitting? Stop it right now. Laughing, I came back to my senses. There was no way that she was the source of my pain. I have become the karmic retribution that you brought on. If you're not careful, more and more bad luck will be drawn in. Her gaze started to shake and shiver, there was not a single shred of peace. She was like a stray dog. Someone as rotten as you shouldn't even have friends or family, and the love that you have been praying for will never come, lightly tapping on her shoulder. Shut up now. Tiffany charged and tried to swing again. Just like before, I came out and slapped her across the face, then pulled out my phone. Someone as crazy as you definitely wouldn't realize that your prince, Chad, is only after my money. Fingers were flying all over the place, it wasn't long before I found the message I was looking for. It wasn't even a day, and Chad had already sent a friend request. You were so gorgeous tonight. After sending it, he attached a cute little tune as well, the special someone. It was after all of these antics that I realized I was an evil little demon on the inside. Singing those lyrics, I went up and grabbed her face. I wouldn't touch that Chad with a 10-foot pole. I would have been able to tell he was a loser. All of the pressure was gone, Tiffany looked ghostly. Blowing her a kiss, don't ever think that you are better than me. All of the things that you have are from my world. I gave you nothing but my love and soul, and you have spat all over me. You're sick. But there are others that would give more to have all of this, I want everything back. In exchange for getting my final word, I decided to give Tiffany a peace offering, it was up to her if she would accept it. But I was wrong again, because she gave me another surprise. As the fact that Chad wasn't that special after all had sunk in, everyone was crowding and kissing up to me, it was as if everything was back to a previous point. Tiffany was just as jealous and petty. While people were doing the party dance, she thought it would be clever to push me. It turns out she only needed a second to take someone down. Thankfully she had not been good at planning, as another girl realized what was going on and moved. In that moment, I had lost all hope for her. The friends of the guests had gotten comfortable enough and had started to ask each other to show off. Hey, let's each give a toast to the birthday boy. Whoever can give the worst toast gets to take the clothes off. You're a menace, Chad had said. It was my turn, and after giving the typical greeting, I had something to say. I see that the level of excitement has come to a halt. How about I tell you what has been going on in my life? In a mess of confusion, I started to narrate the past, giving every detail. Rather than speaking names, I used A and B so that people would be able to put the pieces together. From the numbers, it has been calculated that B has borrowed 80,000. Would A have the right to get B to return this? Someone quickly pointed out, I wouldn't even consider B to be a human. Laughing in response, Chad asked, does A have any proof that the money was even spent on B? Yeah. Every detail is included. Amount spent, the name of the business, what it was for, all of that info will be included. Then what are you waiting for? It goes without saying that people need to pay their dues. If the message was spoken by Chad, the impact would definitely be larger. Clenching her dress tightly, she stood there. She wouldn't be able to talk her way out. She had been so focused on this toast, she had forgotten what everyone wanted to say. No one approached or said a word to her during the entire night. As soon as Monday hit and I was back at school, the room was empty. The guidance counselor contacted me. Ellie, one of your classmates has taken leave of absence due to a health issue. Thanks. I'll need you to reach out to her and request that she settle what she owes. After dropping it off, the guidance had asked, why were these two such close friends? I'll let you know how it turns out. Taking a deep breath of the fresh, crisp air, I was in the most joyous mood I had ever been in. This roller coaster had finally come to a gentle stop. All of the experiences, the pain, and the turmoil felt like I had simply recovered from the flu. This was the start of a new beginning. The past was in the past. And